So next we have a presentation from Ausgold with the ticker code AUC. To tell us more about their Katanning Gold Project in WA, I will now hand you over to Managing Director, Dr. Matthew Greentree. Good afternoon, Matt.
Thank you, Jane.
Let me bring up your presentation for you.
Yeah. All right, thanks. Ausgold's a West Australian focused gold explorer, and you see this picture here is the historic mine at Katanning. And what I'll take you through is what we've done over the past few years to really show the potential scale of this project. And we're rapidly advancing through PFS studies, and in mid-year we'll have a maiden ore reserve. So just as some background, where we're located, we're 3.5 hours south of Perth, about midway between Perth and Albany. What we've got is a very large gold resource at 1.84 million ounces, and that's set to get larger as we've already completed over 60,000 metres of new drilling, with 30,000 metres of RC drilling focused on the resource areas. During the previous year, we added 635,000 ounces. So we've really been hitting this hard over the last 18 months or so, and we're continuing to grow this with every resource. We've already shown that the Katanning Gold Project's a standalone operation. With the current resource, we could produce at least 100,000 ounces, and we're set to expand that with the resource upgrade and the feasibility studies that are underway. Just recently, we announced the metallurgy for the PFS. The first round showed really excellent recoveries with a high gravity component. So I'll take you through those in the coming slides. And we've done this at a fairly modest cost. Our discovery cost is about $10 an ounce to date. So we're really kicking goals there. We're still relatively cheap on the ASX. And I think as awareness in the market grows, that market valuation will increase. We've got a lot of catalysts coming up. As I mentioned, we have a maiden ore reserve coming through in June this year. But before that, we've got the over 15,000 metres of drilling to report to the market. We've got a resource upgrade later this month, and a lot of other exploration results on our regional ground holding. Just in terms of the corporate structure, we just recently completed a large capital raise of $16.6 million. It's not reflecting the cash at hand here, as we're ratifying that placement later this month. Market capitalisation as of today is about $130 million, and I think that's still relatively cheap compared to the asset base we have. It's a well-experienced board and management, and I think you can see since that last capital raise, we've really been performing very well in terms of share price. We introduced some significant shareholders, including Jupiter Fund out of the UK, which is a multi-billion-dollar fund. We've also had Dundee Goodman as a major shareholder sitting at 13.3%. So we're really building up that register and really to grow the company into a producer. This goes over a little bit where we are. You can see the southwest Yilgarn is the focus of the Katanning Gold Project. Our tenements are shown in yellow. There's been a lot of activity in our neck of the woods since the discovery of Julimar up in the northern portion of that southwest Yilgarn. Chalice is also active to the west of us there with their Venturex joint venture. And between us, Anglo American have got over 10,000 square kilometres pegged between Julimar and Katanning. So I wouldn't surprise you to say that our focus is on the gold, but we're also keeping our eyes open on the potential for PGE mineralisation. And the primary focus of that PGE work is out at our Wood Annealing project, which is a laid mafic intrusive complex. Going back to the main show, which is the Katanning Gold Project, you can see we've delivered some very high-grade results throughout the last 12 months, and we continue to do so with our RC drill program. The resource upgrade will be coming in April. It's well on track. We've been getting really good turnarounds on assays, and I think we'll continue to see that with the use of photon rather than fire assay on the project. The Katanning Gold Project is fairly unique in the sense that we're quite close to town. The township of Katanning is home to about 5,000 people. It's a farming community. It's got a lot of community support for the development of this project. But what it does give us is access to grid power, the sealed roads. There's a town nearby with all the amenities of those towns. And I think that alongside having granted mining licenses really, I guess, put this in the top tier of developers coming online. In terms of the technical side, I think one of the first things we've put out on the upcoming studies is the metallurgy. What we saw was really exceptional gold recoveries. Up to 69% comes out in gravity. So that's the cheapest gold you'll recover from any gold processing plant. And with further recoveries, up to 96% achieved with a very standard CIL, cyanide process, relatively low reagent consumption. We're working more on the metallurgy as we speak. We've got some more composites coming through on that to really give us a very good handle on what the process flow sheet will be for the Katanning Gold Project. So we're very busy at the moment, as you might have been up to gather from what I've been saying. We've just completed that large 30,000 metre drill campaign at Katanning. We've got the pre-feasibility studies well advanced at the moment. Resource upgrade April, reserve, maiden ore reserve June this year. But we're not stopping there. We've got a large regional campaign of exploration underway. We've got follow-up RC and diamond drilling, and part of that will be co-funded by the state government under the Exploration Incentive Scheme. And we're going to follow up on a number of targets we generated with a 25,000 metre air core program that was completed over the summer months. Following on from the resource upgrade, we've got a number of other targets that sit outside the main focus of our drilling this year, and we'll continue to grow that resource because we have a strong belief in the multi-million ounce potential of the Katanning resource. Alongside that, we've got a two-pronged approach, really focusing on resource growth and also development through the studies process. So we'll be working on our approvals, environmental studies, that community consultation, that the ESG component is very important to any project that's coming online in this environment. As alongside the technical, the engineering, the metallurgy, and the rest, as we move into a definitive study, which is due to start in Q4 this year. So just quickly going through the project, I'll take you through what we look like in the remaining minutes here. What we've done, we've broken the project into three main groupings, northern, central, and southern. The main work that we've completed today, and the bulk of the resource sits in what we call the central zone, and that's centered around that historic mine that you saw on the front page. We see a lot of potential for growth, particularly in the southern zone, but also in that northern zone. The southern zone, I guess, is the second cab off the rank. At the moment, only 147,000 of the 1.84 million ounces is located there, but we've seen some excellent results in recent drilling. So just looking at that same map view again, but looking also in long section, that top long section is a north-south slice through the project. And you can see the resource block model there. That central zone is where the bulk of the resources sit. We understand that they remain open down plunge and along strike, both to the south and to the north. And another area there, you can see the rifle range remains open. It's the link between the two gaps in the resource area. So there's a lot of work going in there over the next few months as part of our drilling campaign beyond the current resource upgrade. We've got a very, very good understanding of the geology, particularly in that central zone. It's a folded ore body. Where the lodes fold, we see an increase in grade, and we see those very spectacular high-grade intercepts that this project is famous for. The other portion of that is that those high-grade shoots respond very well to downhole EM. So we've been using downhole EM as a geophysical technique to target these high-grade shoots, and that really underpins our low discovery cost for the recent resource upgrades. Again, looking at the same long section of the Jinkas and Jinkas South lodes, these are two main components of the central zone that really make up the bulk of the Katanning Gold Project. This is about 1.2 of the 1.84 million ounces. So it's a very important component. You can see the those very spectacular grades in those high grade shoots that we use with the downhole EM. There's a number of areas here that are still open, including an underground component, which is part of the future work that we're undertaking. So just looking at that underground potential, at the moment, we just report a very small portion of the resource, but the grade on the underground is quite high, 3.1 grams per tonne. It's only, at the moment, it only represents 54,000 ounces, but we know that that's not closed off, and there's a number of areas where we can expand that down plunge and along strike. The current resource, apart from this small portion, is all open cardboard material. So what I'm going to do now is take you to the south, what we call that southern zone. It starts at the rifle range. That's a woodland area. Historically, it's been, I guess, less of a target of exploration because it's taken a bit more logistics rather than working in open wheat fields. It's a treed area. We've got permitting to work in there. The drilling will start in early May with a diamond program. But we've already commenced an RC program on that area that's shown in the yellow there between those two resource areas. So just moving southward here, we're looking at the southern zone. Those red outlines are the 0.1 gram per tonne gold in air core drilling. And you can see over an 8 kilometre strike length around that Dingo resource area, north and south. So it's a very large area that we're talking about, and that's why we have such confidence in potential for a multi-million ounce project at Katanning. You can see some of the recent results we've obtained over the last 6 months or so, and that's primarily that southern extension of the Dingo resource, which will form part of the resource upgrade in later this month. So we've extended that resource over 900 metres in strike length. So just wrapping up now, I mentioned at the beginning of this talk, we've got a large regional ground holding, and we've got a strong belief in the region as well. It's very underexplored as part of the Yilgarn Craton. I think the exploration attention's really only come on since the discovery of Julimar. So we, as a first mover in this region, were able to put our foot on some of the major prospects in that area. Some of those include the Nanakup Ridge and Bullet Pool prospects were discovered by Dominion back in the late 90s, and they augment our Katanning Gold Project, and we're working those up towards a resource area. But you can see that there's some great grades in that, and we're looking to put those together alongside our Katanning Gold Project as a much larger project. And just stepping out again to that broader scale, what you see there is a gravity image with our tenure around the Katanning Gold Project. We've got a very good position around a major crustal structure. That's that same crustal structure that runs up past Julimar on the eastern side of that deposit. We've been very fortunate to obtain that ground position, and we've been doing a lot of exploration over the last 6 months on that, hitting some, I think, some very high priority and very exciting targets. We'll start seeing results for those coming out over the next several weeks and months, and I think there should be a lot of market excitement in that. We're not just targeting gold, we're also targeting the PGEs in that area. So I think it's an exciting project and company. We've just obtained a critical mass for our resource, and really we've already got enough material for a standalone gold operation. What we see, though, is a much, much larger potential here with the exceptional strike length of over 17 kilometres of mineralisation. There is absolute potential for a multi-million ounce project here, and we're building on that with our recent capital raise, and we're well funded to deliver a large drill campaign over the coming months. So thank you.
Thank you for that, Matt. Great presentation. We've actually had a Twitter attendee send through a question here. So we have a circa 2 million ounce resource with an upgrade coming. While I appreciate you can't actually get into too much detail, but how big do you think this can actually get?
Look, obviously we're staging our resource upgrades as the results come through. We added 640,000 ounces last year. we're better funded now, and we're really hitting it quite hard over the next 12 to 18 months with the drilling, particularly in that southern zone. So I think we're easily in that 2 million ounce range. Going forward, we're hoping to target 3 to 5 is the scale that I want to see.
Wonderful. We will look forward to further updates, and thank you for joining us.
Right. Thank you. Thanks, Jane.